Now let's start with the design. As you can see, the Buds 3 Pro and Sony XM5 earbuds differ greatly when it comes to design. The former has a traditional lollipop stem design, just like the AirPods, and the latter has the more bulbous shape, which is actually similar to the build of the older Galaxy Buds 2 Pro. Now both design choices will suit most people, but which earbud you go with based on design is gonna largely depend on your preferences. For example, if you're prioritizing durability or you're just used to a traditional design like the AirPods, then you'll probably want to go with the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. These buds boast an IP57 rating, which makes them more dust and water resistant compared to the Sony XM5 earbuds, which are only rated for IPX4. Also, the stem on the Buds 3 Pro utilizes similar pinch and swipe controls, which you'll find on other earbuds like the Apple AirPods. So even if you are planning to switch from the AirPods to the Buds 3 Pro, it's going to be a pretty easy affair. The controls are rather similar. Also, in my experience, I found that I could get a more secure fit with the Buds 3 Pro, at least for my ears, compared to the XM5. However, again, this could just be due to the shape of my specific ears, so your results may vary. But that's not to say that the Sony XM5's earbud design is bad. In fact, they actually have a few advantages over the Buds 3 Pro. For starters, the XM5 earbuds come with foam ear tips instead of silicone ones, which are what you actually get with the Buds 3 Pro and even the AirPods Pro. Now, memory foam is great because that material actually ensures that you get a better seal in your ears, especially when compared to the silicone material. And if you didn't know, getting a proper seal is very important with earbuds because the quality of the seal, whether or not you actually get a good seal, it can drastically affect the sound quality and noise cancelling performance of your audio product. And it's also worth saying that without the stems, the Sony XM5 earbuds simply look more compact, which some people like purely from an aesthetic standpoint. As for the touch controls, the earbuds feature capacitive touch sensors on both earbuds, and I found these to be very responsive. However, I do prefer the swipe controls on the Buds 3 Pro because it's just easier to swipe up and down to adjust volume instead of having to tap each earbud 4 times. So if you prefer memory foam ear tips, or you just want a more compact form factor and you just don't like traditional lollipop designs, then the Sony XM5 earbuds are a great choice. However, if you are used to the more traditional earbud shape, which is the lollipop stem design, or you just want a more durable pair of earbuds for the gym or for your outdoor adventures, then the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro might be the better buy. Again, at least from a design perspective. Now, besides the design, how is the software support on both these earbuds? What codecs are supported, and what app features can you expect from Samsung and Sony? For starters, the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pro uses the newer Bluetooth 5.4 standard, which means that the buds will support upcoming features. Now, the Sony XM5 earbuds still perform really well. I never noticed any issues when I was connecting to the earbuds, and the range was pretty good. I could go from one side of my house to the other without any connection drop off. But users of the XM5s will miss out on things like Auracast once the feature becomes more mainstream. Now, both earbuds support the usual SBC and AAC codecs. In addition, the Samsung XM5 earbuds support LDAC for higher quality streaming, while the Buds 3 Pro supports the Samsung Seamless codec, which should provide near lossless audio quality over Bluetooth. Now, based on this alone, you might think that, yeah, the Buds 3 Pro has the best connection options and software support. But there is actually a catch. In order to use the Samsung Seamless codec, you actually have to be using a compatible Samsung Galaxy device. And if you want to use the ultra high quality codec, then you're also going to need a relatively new Samsung device like the Z Flip 6. And unfortunately, if you don't have a Samsung device, then with the Buds 3 Pro, you're going to be stuck with AAC for your highest quality codec. Now, this is going to be fine for most people, but just know that unless you have a Samsung Galaxy device, you're not going to get the highest quality audio over Bluetooth with the Buds 3 Pro. Now, regarding software support, the Buds 3 Pro offers AI features like interpreter mode, and the wearable app gives you access to valuable features like a 9-band equalizer, 360 audio, and Find My Device. However, the app only works on Android, so if you have an iPhone, sorry, you're kinda out of luck there. Now, looking at the Sony XM5 earbuds, the story here is quite different. Now, if you own and use several Samsung Galaxy devices already, then the Buds 3 Pro will serve as a natural extension of your existing Samsung products. However, if you are using an iPhone or any non-Samsung device as your daily driver, then you're probably gonna get access to more features on the Sony WF-1000XM5 over the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro. Moving on, battery life. So which earbuds will give you the most playback time? Well, the answer is Sony. Sony wins by a lot, and I'm not even kidding. In our test, the Sony XM5 earbuds lasted 9 hours and 32 minutes on a single charge with ANC on. Now, this is double the battery life we were able to get from the Buds 3 Pro, which only lasted 4 hours and 31 minutes in our tests. Now, this value is well below the battery standard of most true wireless earbuds currently on the market. So if you are looking for kind of a long-term companion, the Buds 3 Pro may not be it. Now, the Buds 3 Pro's battery life should be fine if you're only planning to listen to music on your commutes or just for a few hours at a time. But if you forget to charge your earbuds regularly, or you just want a pair of earbuds that will last on a transatlantic flight, then you'll probably want to get the Sony XM5 earbuds instead. Alright, now both the Buds 3 Pro and Sony XM5 earbuds have good microphone systems. However, there are a few things to note about each mic. For example, the mics on the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pro do a great job in clearly reproducing voices. Now, this is especially true when paired with a compatible Galaxy device, since you can access a feature called Super Wideband, and this allows you to stream mic audio at 16 kHz for improved vocal clarity during calls. However, in our tests, we did notice that as good as the Buds 3 Pro sounded in ideal conditions, the mic struggled to reject outside noise, and this can be a problem if you find yourself taking a lot of calls while you're out and about near a street, or even just like in a screechy subway car. Meanwhile, the microphone on the Sony WF-1000XM5 also sounds really good in ideal conditions, and it does a great job of isolating your voice in noisy environments. However, if you're taking a call in noisy conditions, the person on the other end may hear your voice drop or stutter a bit. Now, this can be annoying, but at least your voice sounds intelligible to the listener despite being in a noisy environment. So if you find yourself taking more calls indoors, then you're gonna probably get better sound quality from the Buds 3 Pro. On the other hand, if you take a lot of calls while you're on the go, you'll probably want to get the XM5s, which have better mic noise rejection. Okay, now when it comes to active noise cancellation, which earbuds cancel out more noise? The Sony WF-1000XM5 or the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pro? Well, according to our lab tests, it's the Sonys. The Sonys blow the Samsung Buds out of the water. Based on our measurements, we calculated that the Sony WF-1000XM5 can reduce the loudness of outside noise by an average of 87%. Now, this is impressive, and the reason why the Sony earbuds were able to get this result is because of its design, and the fact that Sony uses memory foam ear tips, which help create a proper seal, thus making the noise-canceling technology more effective. Meanwhile, the Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pro only reduces the loudness of outside noise by an average of 76%. Now, 76% isn't a bad measurement by any means. The Buds 3 Pro will still do a good job in quieting airplane engine rumbles and screechy subway cars. However, if you want the best noise-canceling performance possible, then you're gonna want to go with the Sony WF-1000XM5. Finally, let's examine the sound quality. Which of these earbuds sounds better? Well, this one's actually a tricky question to answer, but I'm gonna try anyway. Now, looking at our measurements, it shows that both the Sony XM5 earbuds and Samsung Galaxy Buds 3 Pro align pretty closely with our preference curve, which is a measurement of what we think sounds good to most people. And of course, both earbuds do have some notable deviations. For example, both the Samsung and Sony earbuds overemphasize the bass, though Samsung's earbuds offer more bass than we actually prefer, and it's also more emphasized than Sony's earbuds. However, it's important to note that some people actually like this extra bass, especially fans of EDM and hip-hop. So if you are someone who really likes bass, then the Buds 3 Pro is probably going to appeal more to you. However, if you're someone like me and prefer a more neutral-leaning sound profile, or if you just want a frequency response that works generally well with a wide variety of genres, then the Sony WF-1000XM5 might be the better pick.
So that was a bit of a silly goof, and I forgot to talk about the multi-dimensional audio quality score. So according to those results, or that measurement, both buds scored pretty closely to one another, except the Sony WF-1000XM5 did better by, 0.1 points overall, and that's due to the slightly better immersiveness score. But basically what these measurements are telling us is that regardless of which earbud you pick, you are very likely to enjoy the sound quality of either earbud right out of the box. Basically, you're gonna like it. You're gonna like how they sound. Trust me. I review audio. What's that? Bro, you put your arm checked.